Folks, please accept our apologies for Brer Fox and Brer Bear. They can't help getting into mischief, and we're mighty sorry that you can't continue your visit to Splash Mountain just now.
Welcome back to WD Magiccast for the week of January 22nd, 2023. This is episode 212. WD Magiccast, the show about the mouse, the Marvels, the galaxy, and beyond. I'm your host, Matthew Gracon. In this week's show, Dave and I sit down and fondly remember Splash Mountain at the Magic Kingdom in Walt Disney World. And we talk about the past, how it came to be, some of our memories, and what potentially to look forward to in the near and distant future for when it's being worked on and when it's eventually created into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. I did take a survey, however, and polled everyone out there about, this was on Twitter, but I did put links on Instagram and on the Facebook about what are your feelings towards the closing of Splash Mountain in Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom? And the options being mad, heartbroken, upset but hopeful, and absolutely okay with it. And lots of you came out and voted. Lots and lots of people put their votes in. And I didn't really explain on, well, not because it's Twitter, so I can't really put much of an explanation, but mad, I mean, some people are just, could be completely upset and mad that you're taking away my favorite attraction and you're replacing it. But think about it whenever they close Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which I allude to in the episode, that there was sit-ins and there was petitions and stuff. Some people get really passionate about their attraction. So 20% of you said that you were mad about it. 24% said you were heartbroken. 25% said you were upset but hopeful. And the winner, or the most receiving votes, is 31% said you were absolutely okay with it. Glad to hear it. Because, well, you can't really do anything. It's changing, it's closed, the walls are up already, and, well, there you have it. And on that bombshell, we'll be back after these words from our friends and sponsors. And now, on with the show. As I've often quoted Walt Disney, Disneyland was never meant to be a museum, and so forth with any of the parks. They were never meant to be a museum. And what he means by that is that things are always going to be changing. New attractions come in, and attractions go away to make way for other new attractions. There's only so much space. So, that being said, so goes Splash Mountain. By the time you will be hearing this episode, Splash Mountain Walt Disney World would have seen its last day of operation, which would have been Sunday, January 22nd, which happens to be the day that we're recording this episode. And like so many fond memories of the past and things changing to make way for the future, Dave has joined me to discuss our farewell to the iconic, the happy, the zippity-doo-dah of Splash Mountain.
Hello, Matthew. Thank you for having me once again. Look forward to...
Thank you for being on once again.
Once again. Hey, not a problem. I look forward to talking about the history of Splash Mountain.
History or memories, or let's just talk Splash Mountain.
Or just talk Splash Mountain. Whatever.
It doesn't have to be the deepest of deep dives.
True. Exactly.
But, yeah, it's... But what is your thought of the attraction? Is this an attraction you like? Is it something that you could pass on?
In the times that I've gone to the parks, to, Magic Kingdom, it would be one of those things where did I feel like getting wet and then walking around in 90-degree weather in wet clothes? So it was hit or miss. You know what I mean? Like, I think we went on it, and that was fine because we were knocking out a bunch of the rides and stuff like that. But if I was just taking my family, me, my wife, and my kid, we probably would skip it. You know what I mean? Because we've done it, and there was other priorities to get on besides Splash Mountain. You know what I mean?
Sure. For us, it was usually, it's one of the kids' favorites, so it was usually more of a priority. But again, depending on the ambient temperature, weather would play a factor. If it was a colder day, it's you don't necessarily want to get wet. Sometimes getting wet cools you off. In the Florida, you dry off sometimes fairly quickly, other times not so much. Last time that I was just on in November, and I got soaked right down to the bone. And it lasted for a little while, but eventually I dried off.
Well, wasn't it like it was hit and miss, that ride? Like, you can come off it like perfectly dry, or you come off it soaked, right? Like, there was never, I guess, depending on where you sat on the actual log, was if you sat on front, you're probably going to get soaked. If you sat in the back, you might have dodged a bullet.
Yeah, my daughter Paige and I were in the front row, so we got the full brunt force of the wave. Yeah, the bow wave and anything splashing over the side, where people further back were fine.
Right.
A couple rows back were, didn't really get much. So, that was my misfortune this time around. That I got the full brunt force of Chickpin Hill.
Well, see, for me, and I think what might take away from what I said about not wanting to get on it, like every time I go there, would be, again, our local Six Flags Great Adventure had a ride that was similar to it. I forgot what it was called, but it was like you could stand on the bridge and the thing was come down and splash down, and you could get, I forgot what they called it,
it's just a log flume. Yeah, I forget.
But having one like 5 minutes down the road that you can always get on all the time, and then you go to Florida, you've been on something similar already at home, so you try to get to, the other rides that you haven't been on down there.
Yeah, but you can't say that the one at Great Adventure is as much fun as.
No, obviously not. But it's still the point. You go on a log, you can splash down. It's the same thing.
Go in the backyard, get someone with a bucket, and
right. We're gonna reenact the ride in the backyard.
There you go. That was, I think, during COVID. Someone did that. They did a reenactment at home video of Splash Mountain where they're getting pulled around and something. But there was a number of those videos going around. I want to say someone did Splash Mountain. Right. I know they did Haunted Mansion and a few others. I want to say Splash Mountain was one of them. Yeah. Those were enjoyable for the time that we couldn't go anywhere.
Right. Well, because the thing too is like it's located next to the what's that the Big Thunder Rolling whatever.
Big Thunder Railroad, yeah.
Thunder Railroad, and so like for me, I'm sitting there going, I would rather if I'm gonna because you're probably gonna have to wait the same amount of time to get on either ride, give or take a few minutes. I think I'm more the roller coaster person, so I would want to spend my time waiting for the the roller coaster than the Splash Mountain one. But that's me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You know, to my kids, it's one of their top favorite rides. It's always been a favorite ride of mine. I remember thinking back, going back way back to 1990-ish, going to Disney World and watching them build this thing.
Mm.
And it was another, just like what they did with Tron. They had to, they didn't actually stop the railroad. So the railroad would run, but it would have, half the time the train would be going backwards, and then it'd go forwards again because it couldn't make the full loop.
Mm-hmm.
So that time, that's what they did that time, where this time they just shut the railroad altogether and literally rebuilt the engines. From my understanding, they stripped the engines down to each little individual part and rebuilt them completely. I think all of them, or maybe two out, or all but one. In the meantime, so that's why they've been closed for so long. And then you had COVID and all that stuff happened in between. But yeah, that time, because this attraction sits right over the tracks. In fact, wherever you're going through on the train, you can see into it. You see some of the water pumps, and you could look down into the attraction. And then that goes into, that's where the train station for Frontierland used to be, where Splash Mountain is, and they had to move the whole train station. So they had to build a new train station. They had to build the attraction around the track. So that's why they shut that down for a little bit. And then just this massive 87-foot tall structure, popped up in just a couple of years. It took them 3 years. Tron, it seems like it's been 50 years.
I know. Well, COVID delayed that, right?
Yeah. COVID slowed that down. But even in Guardians of the Galaxy was another, 75 years for Guardians.
Yeah.
Yeah, different times, different things, but this has been quite the attraction. First copy of it was in Disneyland, July 18th, 1989 is one of its first welcome guests on board. Disney World, July 17th, 1992, so almost 3 years later, exactly. And I've always found it a fun ride. It's a bright, lively ride. There's some darker moments leading up to the drop. Mm-hmm. But it's the music to it, the theming, the fun characters. It's something that I always enjoyed as a kid. Now I understand that, as in retrospect, people are looking at things as far as historical and what it means to the attraction. And even I think when they built it, it was kind of like, okay, we got this. Do we really want to use this IP? But it works, so we're going to go with it. Mm-hmm. So that's how we ended up where we are today, where we're not losing the ride per se, we're losing the theming of the ride, and it's just getting a whole new story elements and theming that way. But things need to get refreshed. I mean, look at Great Movie Ride in Hollywood Studios. Mm-hmm. Close that one down, and now it's Mickey and Minnie, and it's a fantastic ride.
That's a phenomenal ride. Yeah, that's a massive upgrade on that one.
Yeah, but I mean, they completely rechanged that one. This one, we're still getting the same track because because you can't really change that. Concrete. It's very hard to change that out.
And the train's fine, right? That's not going to be affected, right? Because they did move it off, or is it going to be? Are they going to have to?
Wouldn't think the train should be affected too much with it, because most of it's going to be internal.
Right.
Maybe a couple of days here or there, but internally, everything's going to be changed internally. There's some theming elements on the outside that they're going to have to change. So maybe occasionally having to bring a crane in to remove certain fixtures and add other ones because they're taking off the top of the attraction. They still got a little bit of the hill, but they're taking off the wooden barn that you come out of. And they're trying to make it less mountain-like because in the bayou, you don't have mountains.
Yeah, no. So
originally, they were going to keep the Splash Mountain name per se in the Tiana's Bayou Mountain or something like that.
Mhm.
They're like, oh wait, we don't have mountains here.
Yeah.
So that's why they had to change it to Tiana's Bayou Adventure or something like that. The Splash Mountain name actually comes from Michael Eisner. They were pitching this attraction when Splash was out, and Splash was a big to do, and he wanted the attraction to have more elements of Splash in there. It's like, well, it's not. Splash isn't the type of movie that we can make a log flume ride off of and make it family friendly and whatnot. So we'll call it Splash, even though it's not going to have anything from Splash to do in it.
Right.
But it's a good play on it, and someone suggested the word mountain, and then boop, there you go. Because I think it was before Zippity Doodah's River Adventure, I think was their idea in the name or something like that, which didn't quite flow as well. And Splash Mountain just has that draw. It tells you everything you need to know about the attraction in 2 words.
Yep. And that would, I'm assuming people walking by Splash Mountain, what's that? I'm going there. You know what I mean? That's more of a draw than, like, if you said something that was, what was it, Zippity Doodah?
Yeah.
I'm going to probably keep on Zippity Doodah walking.
Oh, look at that Zippity Doodah there. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that much
you
of a
keep your
hole.
Zippity Doodahs to yourself. Yeah, it's I'm trying to see if I can find what that name was. But yeah, it's Chickapin Hill. That's the name of the mount, the drop.
But for this, I'm assuming it's going to be like one big massive paint job. I'm assuming the log flumes are going to be changed into something else.
Yeah, they're going to change up the ride vehicles. They are going to obviously change out the animatronics. Theming elements.
Because if they do that, if they're the more modern ones, like you saw in like with the Frozen ride and in the Mickey Minnie thing, if it's like that, then it's going to be spot on. It's going to look fantastic.
Yeah, it's here's the name, Zippity River Run.
The Zippity River Run. Yeah, no.
It just doesn't flow.
No.
Flow quite the same as Splash Mountain.
No.
Yeah, my understanding is it's going to be mostly animatronics, which is going to be interesting because the current animatronics are built into the concrete of the attraction. Because they couldn't use wood to build this because you have wood and water all the time. That doesn't spell out too well. But it is it's mostly concrete. So that's going to be the biggest trick in trying to fix this up. And again, this was built early 90s, so the wiring and the mechanisms for the animatronics for then is not what they use now. So it's even though they proposed this a while ago, there's a reason why it's taken this long to get things going. Because of just the amount of questions and issues that are involved in trying to refit a 31-year-old attraction.
Yeah, 31. Yeah. Which is a good run, you know?
Yeah, I mean, lasts a lot longer than some. But it's still a beloved attraction. It still gets lines up the, daily, hour-plus lines. It's sad when I want to see it in November because knowing that it's going to be closed out, that they haven't done the maintenance to keep it up. There's sections that the lights were not on, they were dark.
Oh, they didn't want to put the time in to keep it up to date, so that
the time and the money.
Yeah.
Why are we going to replace this whenever we're ripping it all out? Certain effects and animatronics weren't working. So it was it was actually very unfortunate to have that as your last memory.
Yeah.
I mean, you still got to go on it, still got to enjoy it, but to see it not how you've seen it so many other times in the past,
Right.
is a little disconcerting. It's a little sad, but I still got to see it. I did bring my GoPro along on the last run, so I do have it.
Footage of your last time on it.
Yeah. I do have a permanent memory.
It's kind of like, what was it? What were we on? I think it was Mr. Potato Head. You guys were with us. I think Mr. Potato Head was leaking the oil and it was doing its thing, and then it stopped because it was leaking the oil and fluid, and then they had to pull the curtain to close them off. Were you with us?
Oh, no, we were. I don't think we were with you for that. That was Toy Story.
Oh, that might have been in January when we went the second time.
Yeah,
we were. The Toy Story thing. And you just see Mr. Potato Head was doing his thing, and then all of a sudden he just slowly started slowing down, and I don't know, one of his lines broke loose or something, and all the. So I'm just saying that, like, if that was the last time you're going on there, that's like, oh my God, what happened to Mr. Potato Head? Yeah.
He's leaking potato oil.
Yeah. Traumatize your young ones.
No, not Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah.
Yes, I think one of the favorite parts is the music.
Mm-hmm.
I love the music of Song of the South. As controversial as anyone says that stuff is, but to me, like, Zippity Doo-Dah is like a quintessential Disney song.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those songs that just kind of gets you going and puts you in a good mood. Laughing Place is fun. So you have some nice music with it. And you got your fun-loving woodland creatures. With the whole controversial stuff aside, just saying you have the aesthetically fun-loving little creatures. I mean, it may, as sad as it is, I mean, that it takes place in a darker part of our country's history. That unfortunately is something you cannot change. So I don't think there's any mistake that it is getting replaced by Tiana's storyline and characters, which is going to be interesting because it takes place after the movie. So yeah. So it's not going to be based on. So you're using Tiana in that family of characters, but it's not based on Princess and the Frog.
Okay.
It's after the fact, and it's gonna probably have a little more connection to the Tiana shorts that are going to be coming out, I think, this year.
Oh.
In the next several months.
Okay, that I did not know. That's...
Yeah, so you're going to see some, like, her style and her look in these shorts is going to be what you see in this attraction. I guess in some ways it's going to be a little more like, when you go on Frozen in Epcot, Norway.
Yeah,
it doesn't take place during Frozen. It's obviously set after the fact, right. And you're going along and seeing these characters and interacting with the characters a little bit, and they're singing the songs and you're going through. I'm wondering if it's going to be a little more like that again.
More like
I don't really know anything, but I'm just wondering here.
No, it makes sense. Like, they're taking their characters, putting it in there, but it's set in a theme or a story that's not the movie. It's its own separate little adventure. I got it.
Right.
Yeah.
At one point, I heard the potential story was that Lewis lost his trumpet, and you're going along with Lewis to try and find the trumpet. But I think that's now also been put to the wayside for something else. So we shall see. We shall see where they go exactly with all of that. The drop is still going to be the 52.5-foot drop. That's not changing. Still going probably about 40 miles an hour. I don't know if they're going to change the splash factor at all. Because that was something I believe they actually were able to control.
What do you mean, like how big of a splash you can get? Or
yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see about that. I liked, and I'm hoping they don't get rid of this, but I don't remember seeing in the photos if
you would think going to the splash factor. I'm sorry, I don't mean to sidetrack, but during the summer and the heat, you would think they would crank it up to get people more soaked because it's the summertime, and then on the cooler days they would ramp it down a little bit so you're not walking around frozen in the parks, you know.
Yeah, well, I don't know what all is involved in the in that. It looks like they are. It's hard to tell. I was hoping that at the end of the drop, they'd still have the giant briar patch, but it looks like they may be changing that up. Because I always like that effect. You know, you see the log drop, but you don't see where it ends up.
Oh, I see what you're. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They're going to remove that, so you're going to be able to see them drop throughout the whole thing. Is that what you're talking about?
It looks like they're replacing with like foliage. So kind of more of that swampy bayou-ish look. And they're trying, you know, they have to add in more trees. Yeah, it looks like they're adding in more trees, more greenery and stuff to give it that, again, more bayou look, and also to try and reduce the height look. So it doesn't look as tall. I mean, fortunately, it is actually only 87 feet tall. It looks taller because of forced perspective. But when you consider that the castle is 196 feet or something around there, yeah, this isn't actually all that tall.
Now, does this affect, it's in Frontierland, right? That's where.
Yes.
Does that affect that side of the park in any way? Meaning, like, foot traffic wise, if you're trying to walk around to get to the other attractions that are in Frontierland.
It shouldn't. It shouldn't because it is set off to the side. Now, its entrance is right next to Big Thunder Mountain's entrance, but you're going to be able to wall that section off enough that it may put a little bit of a squeeze to get to Big Thunder Mountain, but it's not going to be that bad. The question will be the train station.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. I haven't gone off at that station in a while, so I don't remember what the pathway is.
If you get off the train station, are you going to be able to get
right? Because
over?
For some reason, I thought it was kind of through the Splash Mountain area, but I'm not. Again, I'm not remembering because
so you might not. The train might still be operational as usual, but you might not be able to get off at Frontierland. There's
a possibility of that. Yeah. Or you take the picture here. I'm looking at the satellite shot. Train goes around. See there, it's Pirates. There's Splash Mountain. There's a train. No, it's off to the side as well. So looking at the aerial shot, it shouldn't affect too much as far as flow for all that.
I mean, and that's got to be tough because they're probably gonna most of their time they're gonna get to work on that. I would assume would be in off hours, right, when the park's not open.
A lot of it will be they'll be doing stuff at night. It's like Tron. It's going to be day and night probably type of situations, depending on how the speed of the project goes and the budget and all that. You're going to have the aesthetic work on the outside, which is going to be the most intrusive to the story. The story going on, the show going on at Magic Kingdom. But the bulk of the work is indoors,
right?
So that isn't going to be as intrusive to the show going on in the park. So to the guests and whatnot, they're not gonna see that as much.
Right, but I'm just thinking like just the massive amount of crowds that go to Magic Kingdom on a day basis. You know what I mean? It's gotta be hard to renovate something like that.
It's a people eater. I mean, I don't remember the exact number of people that go on this attraction. It's a 12-minute attraction. You have multiple logs going at a time with 2, 4, 6, I believe 8 people. I think there's 4 rows per log. So it is a higher flow capacity attraction. So that those people are going to have to go somewhere. So it's going to reduce the capacity level of the Magic Kingdom. 4 rows, 2 per log. Yes. So 8 people. And then you have just a guesstimate of 8 to 10 logs going at a time. 2 loading, 1 on the hill, 1, 2 or 3 inside. Yeah, I mean so that's quite a lot of people. So say if it's 10, that's 80 people, and you're cycling that through. It's a 12 minutes, 11 minutes. So that's only 10 minutes. That's 8 times 10. So a little less than 800 people an hour.
That's a lot.
Roughly. I think it's actually more than that, because but I don't have exact numbers in front of me. This is just off the top of my head.
Yeah, I didn't think of that. So those 800 people per hour are now going to go elsewhere.
They have to be elsewhere, so that's going to. Now you do have Tron opening up, so that's going to pull the gravity of the park to the opposite side, so more people are going to be stuck in Tomorrowland, dealing with Tron. But I mean Splash Mountain's already closed. Tron doesn't open up till April, so this is a lower point because there's no real holidays or anything going on. Tron's opening up in time for spring break, intentionally. So
can you imagine?
You got all that. You got that figured out. So in the meantime, there's going to be a little bit of an extra push or an extra strain on the other attractions until Tron opens up. But it is not going to be as busy at the park now as it is going to be come the spring and summer. Right. Tron will be open up then, so that's going to pull some people into that. So now, granted, they're going to be doing the virtual queue. It's not going to be people lining up as much, so it's not going to be as much of a gravity pool as it would be if it just was a standard line and everyone was just waiting 2 hours for that attraction.
Good. You just brought me back in because I was losing hope of getting on Tron when I go in August, but now you reminded me of the virtual queue, so there's hope.
So you say there's a chance.
There's a chance.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So, it's going to affect the gravity and the flow of the park a bit. Besides the construction walls, besides the noise, besides the intrusion of all of that. So you have a big attractor for that area, so that's going to increase the lines to Pirates, to
Pirates.
Big Thunder Mountain, and to Haunted Mansion, because those are the other big attractions over there.
Yeah.
Immediately within that area. So expect to see lines increased to some extent on those attractions until
when did they give a estimation as to how long the renovations are going to last?
They did. I don't believe them. I believe what is 24? Sometime in 24, I believe. Let me see if I can find that out quickly.
So give or take a year, they're thinking.
Yeah, right now it has a 3-hour wait.
Splash Mountain really has a 3-hour wait?
Yeah, because today's the last day.
Yeah. Wow. Would you wait if you were there, would you wait 3 hours to get on it one last time?
No.
Come on, where's that dedication, Matthew?
if I solely went there with the intent of I'm doing Splash Mountain, and if I get to anything else, that'll be great.
Right.
But my primary reason to do is going to be Splash Mountain. I would gone there super early, and then, I guess I could have done a 3-hour wait.
Right.
As if I was with my family, no.
Yeah.
They would not do it. Yeah. June 30th, 2024 is the projected.
Projected. Okay, so give it. It's about a year and 5 months. They're saying that they can get it done. All right.
Yeah. Because they don't have to rebuild the show building.
Yeah.
It's just retrofitting everything inside. And they're not even really relaying the track. So
are you saying are you saying that they'll get it? You don't think they're going to get it done by June, or it's going to take them longer, or do you think they'll get it done faster? Being that all the groundwork's there, they just have to redo everything. I mean, I know you're not in the attraction building business, but
I would like to say that they're going to get done right on time. Everything's going to go perfect. They may even finish up sooner, but just knowing usually their window and time frame and how things work,
yeah,
I expect it to have to get pushed back some. Mm-hmm. I mean, will they finish it in 2024? I think there's actually a decent chance.
Mm-hmm.
Will it be June? We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, playing devil's advocate, I'm going to say no, because everything always takes them longer than they say it's going to take.
So if you're planning a vacation in the summer of 2024, you don't expect that to be one of the attractions that you can get on.
I wouldn't hedge my bet around it.
Okay.
To plan to say this is the big thing we're doing. We're going because it's going to be the new Splash Mountain's going to be there.
Right.
There's a chance, but
okay.
There's a chance I'll win the lottery too.
Given the two, I'd rather take the money.
Show me the money.
Take your sweet time on the ride. Make sure it's all done right. I'll take the money and run.
So I'm looking. Will I miss Splash Mountain? Absolutely. Am I looking forward to the new attraction? Yes. I mean, to me, it's also like when they had Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, and I still miss Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. That was one as a kid. That was one of my favorite rides growing up, and that went away, and they replaced it with Winnie the Pooh. Is Winnie the Pooh a bad ride? No. Is there nods to Mr. Toad's Wild Ride there in other parts of the park? Yes. Do I still miss Mr. Toad's Wild Ride? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone back and watched some videos of it. I know it's still available in Disneyland. And, as you grow up, your memory or your perspective as a kid of how something is to how your perspective as an adult of how something is quite different.
Oh, yeah.
So as a kid, this, is the most fantastic, wonderful thing in the world. And then you see it as an adult and you go,
what the heck was I thinking?
You just kind of turn your head a little bit and go, okay. Look, I don't remember it that way, but
yeah. Is the overhaul like Disneyland in California is changing it too? How about and Tokyo? Are they all across the
Disneyland, California? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Tokyo, no. Tokyo is keeping theirs exactly the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
For now, the because Disneyland, Tokyo Disneyland is not owned by the Disney Corporation. It's owned by the Oriental Land Corporation.
Okay.
And they license the park out. So they have more say in what happens.
Is Disneyland on the same time frame? Like, are they shutting it down as of today, or are they on a different?
They're on a slightly different time frame, and to be honest, I haven't found out what theirs is. I don't even remember if they mentioned it.
Mm-hmm.
But it is. I don't think it's on the same time frame.
Right. I would be shocked that they are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, our focus is more on the Florida one because that's the one we frequent, as opposed to flying across the country to the other side.
Yeah. I believe the thought process at the moment is they are doing Florida first. They're going to do Florida first before they switch and move the focus to California.
I wonder if it's one of those things where they finish it here and then send that crew that put it together here over there and let them work it.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. That's the reverse though, because wasn't it? It was put together first in Disneyland, right? And then it came, and then 3 years later, I think it was over here in Disney World.
Right.
So they're reversing it now. They're getting it here first and then flipping it over there. Take that, California. No.
We got ours first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything for Disneyland as saying specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Disney World, yes. Wait, what's this? This is oh, maybe it is. Because this one's saying that is today's date, January 23rd, 2023, final date for the attraction at Disneyland in Southern California.
Oh, it's really? Okay, so going by that, they're shutting it down across the board then.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as on top of the Disneyland news as I am on Disney World stuff. My apologies. Sorry, folks.
Have you ever, I think I asked you this before, but have you ever gone out to Disneyland or no?
No, I haven't made the pilgrimage.
Yeah. It's different. You know what I mean? It's smaller. You know, when you see the castle.
Oh, you're not going to like it because it's smaller. No. I know it is smaller.
Yeah.
But there's, it's also Walt's Park.
Right. It's the same, but different. You know, when
they do have different attractions.
Right.
It's not all the same attractions. Let's see if I can see anything on Disney Park Blog.
Well, so the thing is, like, if my brother-in-law didn't live out there, I would have never made the trek out there to go there because Florida is just easier. 2-hour flight as opposed to a 5-hour flight. You know what I mean?
It is a slight difference, and
big time, especially when you're traveling with family.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, not seeing anything on there. On the websites either, on the press sites.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but Tiana's Place, I got that. Yeah, no, I'm not seeing about anything official when that all is. They may have announced that a while ago and just I missed it.
Now, anyway. The Tron attraction that's coming, that they built now, is that all new property that they extended off of, or was that something that they had to shut down and redo?
No, that is extended land. There was I'm trying to remember. I believe that there was a bit of a parking lot, and was it part of the airport? I'm trying to remember if it was part of the airport, but it was just kind of unused land behind Space Mountain. Space Mountain's technically outside the berm of Magic Kingdom as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what they did. The same thing with Tron. Tron is outside the berm area. So really actually adding additional property or square footage to the park. And they built that off of there. There's a little bit of land that they had to take, but minimal. Most of it's all brand new. It's a new show building, completely new ground area. There was nothing there before.
Because I'm assuming at this point, with all the parks, it's kind of hard for them to extend outside their borders that they're on now, correct?
It becomes tricky in certain areas because of back of stage stuff. In Florida, you have water runs.
You say, is it like swampland or something around there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that they're saying. Oh, we're this pie in the sky idea of building on the other side of Haunted Mansion and Tom Sawyer Island, behind Big Thunder Mountain, that whole area. There is land there for them to develop, but there's also a waterway that runs the side of the park, which is where they keep the water pageant show that runs the lagoon at night. That's kept along there, and I think it's a service area and a drainage area. So there's a whole waterway that runs along the side there. So you do kind of run into a barrier. Now, could you always build a bridge and go off of that? Yes, and then there's other stuff back that way too. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you do run into some issues. Again, if you now going to the other side, Tomorrowland, you can go so far there, but there's roadways that lead to Windermere and the towns behind there, the houses behind there. The monorail maintenance station is back that way. Again, more back of house stuff. So yeah, you can push out, but again, only so far, before you start running into other things and intruding into stuff. Epcot, the same thing. You got waterways, hotels that you've built back there now, roads and stuff that go around the park. So you can only push them out so far.
Well, what did they do with Guardians in Epcot? Was that a push out, or was that a section?
It was a push out into the parking lot.
Into the parking lot?
Yeah.
Now, do you think because of the Skyliner and stuff, they said, okay, we don't need as much parking, so that's why they could push out a little bit? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It might have been cast member parking. I forget. But it was, yeah, I think it was some trees and some cast member parking there. So okay. It wasn't impeding into the guests quite as much.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if they want
a huge parking lot.
Yeah, the themes, if they wanted to come up with new themes or new sections or something like that, they're kind of impeded by what they've already basically expanded as far as they can. So they would have to go the route of redoing certain sections if they wanted to come up with something new down the road. Kind of like with Splash Mountain, you're changing it to Tiana's because they can't. There's no section to put a new ride for her. You know.
Right. And eventually, I mean, that's the case with a lot of things. Like, okay, Splash Mountain being the exception, but Norway, Great Movie Ride, Great Movie Ride was also a slight exception because that ride was still bringing people in, but it was a slow-moving ride. And the other thing with Great Movie Ride is that Disney at that time did not own most of the IP shown in that, so they were having to pay other people for that attraction. So financially, that attraction was making less and less sense over the years. So it made sense. Okay, let's close that out. Put in something that will be able to handle some more people, newer technology, and our own IP, so we don't have to pay someone else for our attraction.
Right.
And it was also starting to get a little dated.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, that's some of the rides. I'm assuming they have the higher ups are counting how many people they're getting through on these rides. But I'm wondering some of these rides that have been there forever. People go on their numbers could be skewed a little bit because they don't want to wait on an hour ride, so they'll go on the older ride that they've been on a million times. You know what I mean? Because it's a shorter line, so they're going to go on it. So,
right.
You know, but what the heck? What's the one where you're sitting and it's just a journey through time with the guy and his dog?
Carousel of Progress.
Carousel of Progress. Let's say that one. I'm assuming that's been there forever. So
it's been there quite a while. That one it's got a weird situation around it. People aren't always lining up for that. It's a theater, so you can fill the theater and you get through a fair amount of people. But it's not a high intensity amount of people or anything like that. but it's also, and they haven't updated in a while.
Yeah.
That's really starting to show. But it is one of the few attractions that has a exact direct connection to Walt, because that was Walt Disney's Carousel of Progress. He designed that ride for.
Okay.
And they brought that over from Disneyland to Disney World. So I mean, it is,
So that's one that they probably won't pull out, but they might update. Bring it into, because I'm trying to think.
It's one of those weird kind of. There's that constant battle with, okay, we could do something with this, and we don't you dare touch it. It is Walt's.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
You kind of get that whole little battle there.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I wonder, is that you wonder if that is the constant battle that they're having with, hey, we could pull in a great new attraction in this section, but we can't. We're handcuffed because it's Walt's. You know what I mean?
Well, and kind of that's the other thing with that attraction too, because you have Space Mountain on the other side of that.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to, it's a round, small show building. It's not a huge building that they can go in and put something in. It's kind of like the little trouble that they're having with Alien Encounter, Stitch's.
Mm-hmm.
Stitch's Escape, Alien Encounter, Mission to Mars, Mission to the Moon. All those attractions in the same building. You have two theaters that had a bunch of seats that people sat down and watched this show going on in the center of it. Not a super big show building, so you can't really put a moving attraction in there easily.
Right.
So what do you do that's going to generate a constant flow through, keep people moving, that's going to draw people in? They were thinking of Wreck-It Ralph at one point. The second movie underperformed. It's like, okay, what do we do? So that's now been sitting empty now for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's they have that there's a lot of space in Magic Kingdom that they can utilize still for additional stuff. It's just a matter of what makes sense, and it isn't going to be a huge undertaking, because even just saying off of it, between the Carousel of Progress and Buzz Lightyear, there was a stage there. They even blocked that off, and that there's a dead area of the Magic Kingdom there that could fit a fair amount of people. You could put a restaurant there,
right?
And they just haven't done anything with that either.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and that's the thing. It's I'm glad I'm not in charge of that stuff, because it's you want to keep giving these, because last year was Guardians. People went, that was a big draw. This year it's going to be Tron. That's going to be the big draw. And then the following year to be Tiana's ride, if it's open in 24 or whatever. But you know what I mean? Like, you want to keep those. You don't want the parks to get stale and people not go because there's nothing new, because everybody's been there and done that. Or you're going to get the crowd. It might last like maybe a couple years, because you're going to get those people that I'm going to wait a couple years. Like I was going to do it Rise of the Resistance. I'll wait like 5 years until people stop going to it, and then I'll pop onto it. So, but eventually you got to keep the park fresh. But how do you do it when you're on limited space and time? So
yeah. But then that's kind of also one of the issues that, as far as we know, so they have Tron opening. They have the thing in the Moana Journey of Water in Epcot.
Yeah.
You have the Tiana refit. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, what's beyond that? And then you have their neighbors down the road building a whole new park.
Who's
Universal?
Oh, really?
Yeah, Epic Universe.
Wow.
Which is gonna have the Super Nintendo World, classic monsters, more Harry Potter, all that type of stuff in there. So it's like, okay,
they can't be happy with that.
Yeah, what's either they have something that they're not tipping their hat to yet, or they have nothing and they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
that's going to pull some people from them, boy. Yeah.
Yeah. So That's not a good thing.
No. But they'll still, trust me, it's Disney. They're still going to get their people there.
Oh, yeah. They're working on something, I'm sure. They just haven't told us yet.
Right. But it's enough. It's going to be enough people that's going to go to that new place. That's not going to Disney. And the Disney people in charge are not going to like that. So.
Nope. Exactly. On that note, again, so Splash Mountain, we knew you well. We wish you well. Thank you for the memories.
Mm-hmm.
And then the many wet pairs of shorts and T-shirts.
Yes.
And you will live on in our memories.
Absolutely.
And Tiana, we'll see you soon.
Yes. Can't wait. Hopefully on time and on schedule.
Hopefully, knock on wood, on time indeed.
Yes.
Dave, thank you much for joining us again.
Yes. No, thank you. I appreciate it. And on to the next.
Sounds good. Well, that will do it for our show this week, folks. Thank you for listening. Thank you for Dave for joining us. Let us know your thoughts and expectations of Splash Mountain and the change over to Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Join the conversation on our social networks. Our Facebook page is facebook.com/WDMagicCast. On Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, we are also at WDMagicCast. Make sure you also find our YouTube channel, which is at WDMagicCast as well. You can hear the audio versions, plus some other special things that we have on there as well. You can leave us a voice message through the Anchor app or Anchor.fm website, or record a message and email it electronically. Record it on your smartphone, your tablet, your computer, or whatever device you have, and email to email@wdmagiccast.com. This way you can be heard on the show as well. You can also email us with any questions or suggestions you may have to that address as well, which is email@wdmagiccast.com. Links to all these are in the show notes and our website, which is www.wdmagiccast.com. I want to thank you for your time. I know how little time we all have, and knowing that we get to spend some of it together means a lot to us. I cannot thank you enough. But I can please ask you, go onto Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave us a rating and review to help other people find out about the show. Or if you don't want to do that or can't do that, share it out on the social networks. Tweet it out, post it on Facebook, share a link to the show to help others to find out about WD Magiccast. Tell your friends, tell anyone you know that are big Disney people. Because the more people listening to WD Magiccast, the better. Walt believes in a big Disney family, and so do I. Don't forget to subscribe to the show while you're at it. This way you always know when a new episode is posted. And while you're at it, consider becoming a premium subscriber. Truly help the show out. Keep things coming. Let us do some more things and reviews, new equipment. Really help the show out. Really help support us. You can do this over at anchor.fm/WDMagicCast/support. Or find our Patreon page. You can also check out our merchandise shop. Get yourself some really cool WD Magiccast stuff as well while you're at it. This way you promote the show, you help the show out, you do a whole bunch of stuff, and you get some cool stuff as well. You get some mugs, travel mugs, notebooks, hoodies, onesies, you name it, they got a lot of stuff. It's really awesome. And it's great stuff too. It's really some good merchandise. You can find the links to all these in the show notes, because remember, this show is brought to you by listeners like you. In Japan, broken objects are often repaired with gold. The flaws is seen as a unique piece of the object's history, which adds to its beauty. Consider this the next time you feel broken. Remember, it is okay to ask for help, but never give up. That is not okay. Never give up, never give in. Be your own hero, and let the world see your true beauty. Now I'd like to end this week's show with a quote, of course, by Walt Disney, which no more appropriate quote than this one for this episode. Disneyland will never be complete It will continue to grow as long as there is imagination left in the world. And that's Walt Disney. Thank you again for listening, everyone. And I'll see you next time.